to Bobo Bun. I'm Lisa, a vintage inspired dressmaker and dressmaking teacher. This is the part 2 of me making the coat. I showed you in the beginning clip me sewing the back of the bound buttons. So I'd sewn the lips, but then you have to open out the facing by cutting through and sewing that down. I'm a bit worried about how that'll hold because this wool really pulls back and frays, so I'm thinking I might even have to put a little box of a similar coloured felt over just to reinforce that. I'm loath to do it, but I think I might have to. So before I could actually sew, you know, cut through those buttonholes, I had to attach the whole collar. So I'll just talk you through this. The fur collar is on, which I am absolutely thrilled with. The fur that I had was only this wide, but the collar depth was sort of double that. Rather than go and buy some more fur, because one is expensive and I didn't want to waste what I'd already got and, you know, going out to get it, I thought I'd try piecing the fur. And the seam where it's pieced is running through there. I can feel it, but you just can't see it. It was the same as I've shown you with doing the flannel interlining, lying the two pieces side by side and zigzagging them together. I did it on the rough underside, and then I could just smooth out the fur. So I'm really pleased with how that's worked. I'm not pleased with how this collar looks to be standing out from underneath, but I hope some steaming is going to sort this out. Now, the other things I did on the collar, I had to attach, once I'd put my fur together, I cut out my fur collar and I had to attach the fur collar to the under collar. And to do that, these facings had to be joined to the inner back facing, and I pinned this top collar to that, so it's like under collar's there and the upper collar's here, so there's a gap between the two, and then you sew all the way round. I put the coat on and that collar came way out past my shoulders and it felt a bit like a Pilgrim Fathers collar. I know some people like big collars, they were in fashion, they might still be in fashion, I don't know. It's not my look. I just felt dwarfed by this ridiculously huge, like, saucer of a collar going around my neck. So I took about 2 inches off all the way around to make the size collar I want. I wanted it bigger, so it's still like the design, but not as ridiculous. I might be tall, but I just felt dwarfed by this gargantuan collar and I didn't like it. So I did that, and I also understitched. So I cut the under collar slightly, it's like it's an 1/8 of an inch narrower than the upper collar. Then I understitched to try and get it all to roll underneath really well. And you can see that stitching there, which gives you the collar stand and the roll for the collar. But yeah, God, it's standing away. Collars are my nemesis. I'm trying to get those to lay flat, but I will work on it till it lays how I want it to do. Once I'd got that all done, I had to join through the seams on both, and I did that by hand sewing, so I had to open out the seams and pin through and make sure I went through evenly all the way round. Sorry, my phone, I forgot to turn the notifications off. So I've done that, so that's all secured, and once that was done I could then sew the backs on these bound buttonholes. So now we truly are at the bit where I can be attaching the lining, and I've got to attach the facings to the sleeves as well. I think I'm going to leave the sleeve facings so I do the hem as well at the same time. So it's on with the interlining now. That's the next step. I've got my leopard print lining here, and I've got my flannel interlining, and I've smoothed them out together. And you have to do it very much the same way as you underline a piece of fabric. So you'd smooth it out, and then you would put all your pins from the centre pushing out. You want to push that fabric out as taut as you can get it, so that you're making this into one piece of fabric, if that makes sense. Push it out so you get it as taut as you can get it and make it into one piece of fabric. So I'll carry on pinning this, and then when I sew it I will carefully just sew within the seam allowance, and I will just do in one run. I don't keep pivoting and turning. I'll So round the neck and round the neck, across the tops, down the sides. I'll do them all individually so that it will act like one bit of fabric. And then I'll put my interlinings together in the same way as I do for the coat. And then it can get popped in the coat. We're ready to show the next bit. I'll just show you a couple of bits of the interlining. This is the sleeve, all interlined, so that's all there ready to go. The only thing that's annoying me with this fabric is it really crumples. I had to iron it all to put it out, so we shall see what happens. Sorry about the background noise, you hear it. We are sandwiched between two screaming toddlers on one side and a baby that cries a lot on the other, so there's always a lot of background noise. I normally have music on trying to drown it out, but licensing laws, I can't play music while I'm doing these videos. So there's other noise. I was just showing you how I'm hemming the coat. I've tacked in where I've turned it up, and then in the instructions, I'll just show you the instructions here. It tells you to, where's the bit there, to use the binding, yeah, to sew along the bottom, and that's the hem there. And I luckily in my stash found just enough in this blue, and I love turquoise and pink. That will go over there, and the lining will go over the top. Oh, goodness me. I had my own children and I really enjoyed them, but other people's children I have never enjoyed. And yeah, it's a bit much. At least they're happy at the moment. It's when they're screaming and crying that it's a bit... ugh. So I'm going to sew this, yeah, and put my music on loudly again. Okay, we're inside out. I've got to put the lining on the coat now. So I've got, shaking this out here, the facings done on the sleeves, so they're all neat. Looks like the collar's been put on an inside out, but believe me, it hasn't. It's the right way round. I've tacked all this facing down. And then if you come to the bottom, see that I've finished this bit of the facing. I've got all of my bias binding in here, and I've just tacked that, so we're going to lay the lining all over that. I'm really enjoying making this coat. I'm absolutely loving it. But as I was working on it this afternoon, I was thinking, if you don't like hand sewing, don't do tailoring, because there is a heck of a lot of hand sewing, from the bound buttonholes, sewing the collar through, basting parts, you know, tacking bits, doing the pocket flaps, the hemming. There's a heck of a lot of hand sewing that goes into proper tailoring. So I'm only saying this because I've got somebody in my sewing club who absolutely hates sewing, and just, you know, she loves machine sewing but not hand sewing, so won't do anything that requires hand sewing for finishes, and that's fair enough. But I was just suddenly thinking there are people out there that, whilst they love sewing, they only like it on a machine, so I thought I'd just flag that up. Now I'm working on pinning the lining into my coat. So I've turned my coat inside out and put the sleeves through the lining, laid the lining over it, and I've just pinned back the seam allowance. Can you see that there? And it's laid over, so it will be joining. Once it's joining over these pieces here to fill that in. You can see how it goes around at the back. So I will be hand sewing all of this in as well. So there'll be a lot more hand sewing, putting all this lining in. I hate doing lining because I always end up pulling it out of the coat. Me and sewing lining in don't always go together hand in hand, so fingers crossed. Obviously, if it's not right, I'll have to pick it and do it again. But that will be the last thing to do, and then finish the buttons, which I need to show you in a moment, and then wait for the weather. That means that I can wear my new coat. And obviously I need to reveal said coat to you, even if I feel too warm in it or not. So yeah, I hope you're enjoying going through all this. So I did say all the things you have to hand sew, and hand sewing this lining in is another one to add to the list of sewing jobs. Now, rather than giving you a tutorial on the buttons, I've decided that I'm going to just talk you through, because I think it's really straightforward, you know, to sew these buttons. They were kindly sent to me by Carlin at Weiscott's Bonnet from the How to Do Fashion, which is, you know, they're fabulous patterns. So there was a tutorial over there, and I knew these were exactly what I needed. So I found myself some of these rings. They're called alloy rings for bags, and I'll just show you one here. You see that there? Just a little ring. I suppose you could use curtain rings or whatever, but it's not too heavy. It's quite lightweight. Just pop that box down. And I knew they were the right size for, where are they? Going through my bound buttonholes. I think I've moved out of the direct light. So you would cut a circle of fabric wider than your ring, because you then want to lay the ring inside it and pull that fabric up. So all around the outside of that circle you would do a running stitch, which you can gather. So then you would lay your ring in the middle, pull up those stitches, and then you would just keep securing them, you know, sewing across and securing them at the back like so. And then the next job you've got to do is to sew. So I did some tiny stitches right at the edge of the ring through to the back, all the way around, so that you get this lovely ridge. I don't know if you see it so much on this button, you get this lovely ridge. And then the next thing I've got to do is, with some felt, I'm going to make a back, and you sort of do a twist and a knot at the back, so it's the like the shank for the button. So I've got to finish the back of those off. But I've sewn both of these, trying to decide which one I want. This isn't actually from the lining, and funnily enough, I really don't like this lining. I like leopard print, but this more gingery type of leopard I don't like. I prefer, like my collar and this button, I prefer when a leopard print has a stone coloured back. I've got this lovely stretch cotton leopard here, which is destined for a dress. So that matches the collar better. Now, whilst I think these covered wool buttons look really, really classy, they look beautiful on the coat, I still haven't decided, so you'll find out with the final reveal. I feel it's a lot of pink with just the leopard there, whereas if I use the leopard print button rather than that, because I don't like the ginger on the outside, I think that will just make it pop a little bit more. So decisions, as I've said. I'm sure I've talked about these before. I'm filming so many things I can't remember if I've talked about the buttons here or not, so apologies if I'm repeating. I chose to do the buttons in the same fabric as the coat, so I'm really pleased. I've French tacked the hem at the bottom, you know, the lining to the hem of the coat, hand sewed all the lining in, so I'm absolutely thrilled with it. And now I just need to show you what I look like in the coat. I am being super lazy. I'm not setting up my tripod to just finish up the filming for you today. I'm holding it by hand, so sorry if it's a bit wobbly. Just to say, I am thrilled with my coat. I took it to Friday Morning Sewing Club to show them the coat, because they've been following my progress as well. So it was lovely to you know, be able to show and talk through, you know, with my lovely ladies there as well. And I've thoroughly enjoyed sharing the whole process with you here over on YouTube, all you lovely people who follow me. So I hope you've enjoyed me taking you along on the process of sewing my vintage McCall's coat from the 1960s. If you enjoy my videos, then please subscribe to join me here, not to miss out on any of my content as it comes up. I love being here and sharing my passion with you. So until next time, happy sewing everyone, and I'll see you very soon. Bye.